Welcome back, friends. Last guy here. Time for more Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Let's get going some more in here. This is the final case after all. So, what is going on here? So, yeah, here's the question. I almost said Gumshoe. Is Fish and Chips, was he actually bad or was he not? That's the question here. But it's a question of when do we condone murder, when do we not, if he actually did orchestrate the Reaper stuff? Because, they were killing some of the worst criminals in London, right? So, look, it's only okay during war when we kill innocent men who are working for evil people? When is it okay to murder when is it okay to murder people? That's the question. Literal Nazis was the last time I think we were being the good guys here with killing people in war. Of course, terrorism. But there's a lot of just proxy wars where we're just having fights happen for the sake of fights, and it's not great because it's just influence stuff. Well, obviously, what's happening with Ukraine this is a weird tangent to go on right now. Let's get going with this. So, Kazuma is doing something. And what if Jigoku was the actual killer? I don't want that to be what happened, but what if that's what's happening here? And so he's like, maybe I'm going to kill Jigoku. Or I'm working with them to figure out who killed my father, because I don't believe my father was the actual professor. I'm wondering if Von Zeke's brother was the actual professor, and he killed Von Zeke's, but that sounded like the father was liked Von Zeke, so I think the actual professor was someone else. That's probably the twist that's going to happen. But the question is, who was it? Was it Strongheart? That's the thing we need to figure out, and who knows how many episodes we're to figure that out. We're in the final chapter, though. So let's get going here. Crazy tension at the start. Kazuma-sama, the Reaper's assassin. I feel as though I'm in a nightmare. I can hardly believe it either. But on the other hand, Kazuma isn't in the habit of making up stories. Yeah, so I assume he scared him off with his sword and broke it on the box, or there was a fight or something. I have such a terrible sense of foreboding. If something awful has happened to Judge Jigoku, then I feel as though things will only spiral further and further out of control. I felt it from the moment I stepped into the courthouse this morning. That strange sensation that we were careening? I think careening is the correct word here. That strange sensation that we were careening towards a foregone conclusion. If it is careering, correct me on that one, but I think it's careening. The rare mistake in a game, maybe. Well, in the worst case, we might only have 30 minutes left. Unfortunately, though, I don't think there's anything we can do but wait now. We're out of options. Actually, there may be one last hand we can play. Or rather, one last year. Of course! The little Mr. Sholmes doll that Iris gave us. Yeah, I didn't understand what she gave it for, right? If for some reason you completely run out of options in the twilight today, then just pull this widow Harry's ears as hard as you possibly can. That freaking cap of hers. Perhaps now is the time. What should I do? Pull Hurley's ears or not? If you suggest to do it, here goes then. I'm going to do it. Just ends the game here. Good luck, Mr. Naruhodo. No looking back. Eve? Oh! That scream sounds like Mr. Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes? Where are you? Here, my dear fellow, here. It's the felt doll talking. Oh, it's an earpiece. Pull the ears again, Mr. Naruhodo, as hard as you can. Alright then, I'll put all my strength into it. Eve? Oh! Please, my dear fellows, you don't need to pull my ear off. Interesting. Mr. Sholmes, where are you? Myself and my trusty partner are presently in the first-class cabin area of the SS Grouse. The SS Grouse? She left over last night after the final pieces of cargo were loaded. We're currently docked at Dunkirk, but due to be underway again in half an hour. You've taken a ship to France? Please, even with my athletic prowess, I would struggle to jump the Straits of Dover. After we left Baker Street last night, we hurried by cab to the station and by train to the port, in order to board this vessel in time. So, you mean you'd already worked it out? That the steamship was where everything really took place? So we're gonna do an investigation with him, okay. Miss Naruhodo, pray, what is my name? Sherlock Sholmes. World-famous great detective! Recited to perfection, well done. You're a genius, Mr. Sholmes. Hey! That's the only word for it. Oh. Mr. Sato, gently with his genius's ear, please. Oh my, I'm ever so sorry. If I may, Sholmes. There you are, Mikotoba. You may remember that it was in fact I who made the connection to the SS Grouse. I Scotland Yard yesterday when we examined that notebook and I recalled my steamship ticket. But of course it was, my dear fellow. And not once did I controvert that fact. I merely had our court-bound companions out of my name. Yes, you did, didn't you? We've just entered a recess. The trial resumes in 30 minutes from now. And if we're unable to present any new leads then, I'm afraid to say. Do not fret, please. It's for precisely that purpose that my partner and I made this journey. I have no doubt we shall have welcome news for you within the half hour. Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. That would be wonderful. Until later, then. Yes, you'll be hearing from us if you're not in touch first. Oh. I shan't be hearing anything if you keep tugging my ear in that mindless fashion. Whatever was the idea behind making a receiver operated in that way in the first place, Sholmes? Why the deuce would I know? It's Iris's invention, not mine. That little girl's crazy. Whilst I know how much you enjoy being the hero of the hour, Sholmes, we have but half an hour. That before the grouse puts to sea again. And if we don't conclude our investigations rapidly, we shall find ourselves in Naples before long. There are times, Mikotoba, when you make a surprising amount of sense. So, let us begin. They're not on the Burry, they're on the grouse. This is weird. First class cabin number 2, so this is the one. But I don't believe an investigation of the cabin is going to be plain sailing. That crewman standing in front of the door is an angry-looking fellow. Why are you loitering here? Who are you? Not going French with us, just do the same one. My dear fellow, do you not recognize a world-famous great detective when you see one? The question really ought to be, who are you? Do you not recognize a world-traveling great sailor? Chichkin Stroganoff when you see... It is him! He's got Sholmes on his arm, okay! So it is him! Great detective? Ha! I don't think so! Wait, is the dancer here? The ballet dancer here? Do you see that, Mikotoba? It would appear that this man is a devoted follower of mine. Yes, it's Sholmes. Goodness me! Is that a tattoo that says Sholmes? I must say, while such adoration is flattering, naturally it does leave me a little cold. What are you talking about? Leave, now! How distressing. My loyal devotee knows me only by name and not by appearance. And yet I already know a great deal about you, sir. You have a brother, I believe. Okay, that's it, he's a brother, okay. Like yourself, he's a shipman. Currently traveling the world aboard a Russian steamship, in fact. He's weirded out, he's like, okay, he's knowing too much. How could you know this? Elementary, my dear Mikotoba. I'm sure it was. 3 days ago, I was bound for London aboard this ship, you see. We're looking for one of my fellow passengers, a man by the name of Jigoku. There's no one with this name on board. But we know that he purchased a ticket for passage. Ah, you mean Eastern man. He left ship 2 hours ago. At Dunkirk, he said something about emergency, I think. What? Are you sure? So Sheshiro realized that we're after him, has he? So Seshiro's realized we're after him, has he? His cabin is the one behind you. Who should like to investigate, please? No, I have orders not to let even mouse inside. Mikitoba, be a good man and draw the sailor's attention away, would you? Make up some excuse that he leaves the area. He can hear him say that. Doesn't great detective see that even sailors have ears, both left and right? Curses! The plan is ruined. And you have only yourself to blame, I'm afraid, Sholmes. Forget it. Cabin door is locked. Even if I am not here, you cannot get inside. Mikitoba? I'm sure you haven't forgotten my special talent, have you? Opening any lock. Within a mere 5 seconds. So if you'd be so kind as to afford me the requisite time, old friend, in your typically accommodating manner. How could I refuse such a typically unappealing request, old friend? So I need to distract that burly sailor for 5 seconds, do I? Good man, so the game is afoot. Boulder Dash. Okay, so the cheese. What can I do with the cheese? Interesting to shake it up in the last chapter, huh? This must be a mousetrap, I think. Perhaps I could distract the crewman's attention with this somehow. Leave it alone. No, I think not. That would never work out, surely. Need to concoct another distraction. This would appear to be an alarm bell. All hell would break loose if that thing were to ring. The whole crew would know about it. No, I didn't mean to. Here goes then. Pardon me in advance. Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. You! What are you doing? If we were at sea, that would be a very bad problem. What's going on? Gotta do it! What's going on down there? Seaman Stroganoff. Repeat it once. It's a horn thing. It's gotta work. Sorry, sir. Nothing to report. It was just a stupid trick. No, not by me. My word famous. No, as I told you. Now, Sholmes, now. Done. Not even 5 seconds, eh? Well, don't stand there gawping at my brilliance, Mikitoba. In we go. Oh, yes. Well, it was the right thing to do, okay. Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling, ding-a-ling. Okay, what happened here? 3rd November, SS Grouse, First Class Cabin Number 2. Alright. Good gracious. It would appear that the occupant of this cabin did indeed disembark rather hurriedly. Those clothes on the floor there. The Seshiro's, without question. Well, it seems we are just a little too late. Yes, by about 2 hours. Still, whilst we're here, we should investigate thoroughly. There may well be 2 hours' worth of clues to find in here. But that burly crewman may return at any moment, Sholmes. Indeed he may. Which makes all this all the more thrilling. Okay, let's see. That, of course. There's a speaking tube here. Look! Though it's been stopped with some cloth. The voice of the crewman on the bridge aren't an annoyance, I suppose. Oh, indeed, so that the voices in this cabin aren't heard elsewhere. Could something have happened in here that was for no one else's ears, do you think? Either that, or it could be to prevent snakes from entering. That's really becoming a favorite case of yours, hasn't it? Alright, let's check this. There can't be a body in there. According to the report I was given, Nodahodo was concealing himself in Asogi's wardrobe. Indeed he was, and it was of a similar size to this. Ah, you must climb inside yourself, my dear fellow. What? Whatever for? It was the site of my first fateful meeting with Miss Naruhodo. You can experience the moment for yourself now, complete with my dramatic rhetoric. Come along now, in you go. This will only take a moment. Really, Sholmes, surely you can just tell me what you said. Well, I uttered some brilliant remark and opened the wardrobe to reveal the stowaway murderer. I think I'll just read about it in the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Ice. Quite the exquisite glass, I must say. See here how it... Yeah, here's the question. How is there ice after 2 hours? Is something wrong, Sholmes? You suddenly trailed off. Ice, Mikatoba, ice! What opulence the first-class passenger enjoyed. Chilled drinks. Pardon? Could it be that the steamship is equipped with an electrically refrigerated cold room, do you think? Well, it is a luxury liner after all. They have enormous refrigerators for storing all sorts of lavish produce as well as ice. On our voyage from Japan, we enjoyed culinary delights from all over the world. Suddenly, Mikatoba. The sight of you is making my mouth water. I haven't taken on the flavor of the food I ate, you know. Hey, the ice is what concerns me. Like, how is there ice if it's been gone for 2 hours? Check the trash. This is the waste paper basket. Look, and there's still rubbish inside. Indeed. Then let us pry. I've discovered recently I have a penchant for exploring the contents of others' waste paper baskets. I sincerely hope only for your work. Ah. Here we have a notice issued to passengers from 3 days ago. 3 days ago? The night before we arrived in London, then. When I was still aboard myself. On departure from the port of Dunkirk, all crew members are required to assemble on the main deck at 10 p.m. I was still reading that! Ah yes, there was an evacuation drill. I remember now. For our safety and security, all first-class passengers were constantly under the watchful eye of the crew. So it was a welcome relief to have some privacy for once. Evacuation drill itinerary has been entered into the court record. I gotta take a look at this. I can't look at it right now? Well, I keep looking around then. These are the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Additionally, there are some severe punishments for stowing away in wardrobes and or travel cases. Because of freaking Naruhodo. I feel the rules have increased since I last read them. Probably just my imagination. Because of Naruhodo. What about the fact that they're not straight on the wall? Doesn't that strike you? You may be right. Probably just your imagination, though. A trifle. You know what I always say, Mikatoba. There's nothing important about trifles. It's probably just my imagination, but I think that might be slightly off. We can't move it, though? Because we can see that this is where Maida used to be, because look at the 4 holes. Yeah, do this. The wall is slightly different color just here. Do you see? Do you see? There you go. Indeed, what you have observed arises when a frame that has been hanging for some time is removed. Perhaps your friend is an art thief. Now there's a bold deduction worthy of a great detective, I'm sure. He may very well be the elusive thief who has been plaguing France's galleries of late. I think perhaps we should focus on our attentions elsewhere, Sholmes, don't you? That outline on the wall. I feel as though I might have spotted something of a similar shape and size elsewhere. Yeah, this. Can we do anything with this or not? Skipping through. No, I can't. Alright. I don't think the books will do anything but plenty of reading material to keep passengers occupied on the long sea voyages. I found the mixture of classic literature and easy reading to be most satisfactory, I must say. Tch! Whoever stocked this bookcase was a hopeless heretic. There's no copy of the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, my dear fellow. I'm afraid it's just me, but no, you're quite right. More blasphemous than overlooking the Bible. I shall leave a copy behind. I just happen to have one with me. You're a true missionary of the Church of Great Detectives, aren't you? The trunk and the clothes. Or both combined. That's a very sizable trunk indeed. Seshiro's partial to all things large. And the rather clumsy fellow if he failed to notice he'd left that behind. Perhaps he left it on purpose. It's lighter than you might think, but still a hindrance to a speedy escape. Pity. It's locked, so we can't look inside. Surely 5 seconds from now, the situation will be quite different, though. Sadly not. It has a 7-digit combination lock. And I'm not in a morose enough mood to work through all the combinations at the present. Ah, okay, we looked at everything. You are still here. Ah, able seaman Stroganoff. Well, hello again. I was beginning to think you'd never materialize. You are waiting for me? Of course. I was expecting you to burst in with a hearty Russian profanity far sooner. I was in trouble with Captain because of trick you play before. Poor innocent Tishkin. It is all your fault. Oh. Ship is leaving port soon. Get off now. Of course, we shall disembark presently, my dear fellow, but first, there is something that must be done. What are you talking about? Why, naturally, the debunking of your deceit and the bearing of the truth. Are we doing deduction? Kakoi! I'm afraid I see through your lies. For one thing, Mr. Jigoku has not yet left this vessel at all. Duh! And for another, my dear Seaman Stroganoff, you know exactly where the man is, even as we speak, don't you? How can you? Good gracious, Sholmes, you mean you've worked it out? All of it? It's really been too long, hasn't it, old friend? 10 years, no less. So, would you care to join me for a dance of my inimitable... Oh my god. Of my inimitable logic and reasoning? Nothing would please me more. What is this? Here we go. We have but minutes until the vessel puts to sea. No games now. We're gonna have time for this. Ah, here we go! Time is of the essence. Mr. Stroganoff, allow me to remind you of your earlier claim. Oh, the music's kicking in good. You told us that Jigoku left the ship some 2 hours ago. Duh, that is what I said. But there's ice. Sadly, that was a rather clumsy lie. You see, there's something in this room that quite clearly contradicts it. What? Ah, yes, of course. I see you've noted it too, Mikotoba. Then please, do take the lead. Oh, good. We're speeding this up. Okay. Instead of doing his false production, Mikotoba's gonna do it. What in this cabin shows the impossibility of Jigoku having disembarked 2 hours ago? Let's see, what the last 3 years have done to your observational skills then, Mikotoba? It's been 10 years since we last did this, Shums, not 3. Why, of course it has, quite. Now, all the clues are here in this cabin for your eyes to see. But as I always say, you must not merely look, but observe. Observe and the answers become clear. So impress me. I think I can manage that. It's called the ice. Present. Present this. Blam! What? Okay, we're having fun now. Perhaps you should have cleared away that glass. How curious that the ice shouldn't have melted, despite it being abandoned 2 hours ago. Ah! It would appear that the man was here in this cabin until moments before our arrival. With this well-chilled glass in hand. Get your mind off the refreshment shrooms. One might even conclude that somebody informed him of our boarding. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Stroganoff? But why would Seshiro run from us? Before we consider that question, allow me to confirm one small matter. Would I be correct in saying that these first-class cabins of the SS Grouse are the same ones in which you and Mr. Jigoku were accommodated on your voyage from Japan? Ah, that's right, they are. I was in the cabin next door and Seshiro was, yes, 50 days in this very cabin during our voyage. As I suspected, for you see, there are traces in this cabin of a dark secret that Mr. Jigoku had to hide. What traces? I know nothing about this. Ah, this is news to you, is it, Mr. Stroganoff? Sholmes, what exactly are you getting at? As I said, there are traces in this cabin of some nefarious activity. Something that appears out of place, which I'm quite sure won't have escaped your notice. Something out of place in here? Something out of place in here? That's the key to this, Mikatoba. That's the key to this, Mikatoba. The remnants of the dark deed that took place in here are being masked by something quite incongruous. I must say, I didn't foresee ever doing this dance of deduction with you again, Mikatoba. No, quite. But life is full of unexpected twists and turns, as we well know. Now then, let's see if I can uncover the truth here. Yes, you have the floor, my dear fellow. It's gotta be the rules of passage and the mark on the wall. Like, one or the other. Let's go with the mark on the wall. Let's go with that. There's that or the other thing. Okay, it's the passage. Mikatoba, no games now, were my words, were they not? Come on, Sholmes. Where's the fun in life with a little fooling around, Quite right you are. That was a close shave. I'd better rethink that before I'm the fool here. So that's gotta be that then. Oh, there's more? Okay, that was new, okay. You must tilt your head to one side and listen carefully to the faint cries of the scene. Hear the evidence calling out for you to find it. Here I am, it cries. Well, your methods were never conventional, but you know I've always been willing to give it a try. Dear God, Mikatoba, open your eyes. It was a metaphorical listening that I was suggesting. Ah.
Take that!
There we go. Okay. Tappity tap 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 tap. Yeah. It's the rules of passage in this frame here. They're obviously out of place. The way they're hanging crooked on the wall, as if they were put there in a hurry. In a hurry. Yes, as I'm sure you've already concluded. That frame was originally over here. The shape and size are a perfect match. Ah, you're alright. When did frame move? Hardly the most observant of crewmen, are you, Mr. Stroganoff? I would think your captain is quite justified in having these reservations about your reliability. Ugh. Oh dear, that really seemed to touch a nerve. So, Mikatoba, why don't you lift that frame off the wall? Oh, snap! That looks like a bullet hole. What? Who has been shooting walls? I see. The projectile has been removed. You know how wild it is if Jigoku killed... Okay, let's go with this. Jigoku somehow killed Fish and Chips, because I can't remember his name right now, here, and just maintained it on ice and then took it to that one place this whole time? Crazy. But how would he know about that room? So I don't know if it was Jigoku or not. I see the projectile has been removed. Clearly the careful occupant of this room has already disposed of it. Now then, Mr. Stroganoff? I have the distinct impression that you're attempting to shield said occupant. I don't know what you're talking about. Why would I try to protect Eastern Stranger? Ah, so we're talking about the same man, I see. Good. I'm sure we can get to the bottom of this in no time. Aren't you? Because there's some very noteworthy evidence that explains the reason why you're lying for the man. Yes, you've been told to keep up this pretense, as clearly shown by... I really don't know how to approach this one, Sholmes. Ah, my dear Mikotoba, simply keep first principles in mind. Study your subject from every angle, and I'm quite sure that you'll see it. In fact, I'd put a wager on it. So I'm to glare at the fellow from all sides? Well, I can certainly do that. He's got quite the build. Okay, so let's see here. Bribe?
Take that!
Go for it. You've been bribed. Tappity tap tap. Tap tap. It's almost too obvious for words. Quite the universal language of the world. Money. Duh. And I'd wager the Eastern fellow in question is Seshiro Jigoku, yes? Ah. So I presume you realize what this means. There are clear signs that a crime has been committed in this cabin. And the way you're going, sir, you'll find yourself accused of being an accomplice. But... I believe you know, Mr. Stroganov. You know where Mr. Jigoku is hiding at this precise moment in time. He's looking at the trunk. As always, Mikotoba, in matters of deduction, the furtive glance is an unfaltering ally. Yes, I think you're onto something there, Sholmes. You found the chink. You found the chink in this burly fellow's armor. We need only follow the man's gaze to know where our prey is hiding. The slightest flicker of the pupils, a minute delayed blink. Nothing escapes my attention, even that of which is barely perceptible. You can hardly call this barely perceptible, Sholmes. The man's turned his entire head. It's not exactly what you'd describe as a furtive glance, is it? It's almost too obvious. We shall let your tapping toes decide, my dear fellow. You'd only look at the man's gaze and know where... Right, yeah, the large trunk.
Take that!
Super easy. Tappity tap, 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 and tap. You turned immediately to look at this large trunk, didn't you? Ah! The truth is, Seshiro Jigoku was unable to escape from the ship in time. And is, at this very, very moment, doing his best to stifle his breath inside that trunk. If he still has a breath to take, I fear he may be running dangerously low on air. Hmm? Oh, snap. I imagine he didn't count on us making a nuisance of ourselves for quite so long. I think it would be in everyone's best interest for us to open the trunk as quickly as possible. But how can we? Are you forgetting about the combination lock? We don't even know the 7-digit code. The combination lock can't be opened from inside the trunk. Therefore, there must have been an arrangement for somebody to open it after our departure. Of course. In short, before Jigoku hid himself inside that trunk, he must have told somebody the 7-digit number for the lock. That's what I figured out already. As I'm sure you can confirm, Mr. Stroganoff. Ooh. No, I know nothing about combinations code. It's right there. Don't move a muscle, my good seaman. Now, Mikotoba, would you do the honors and open the trunk? How on earth do you expect me? It's a 7-digit number, remember? Quickly now, we have little time. Sholmes. 5 4 H L M is a 3. How do you spell Sholmes again? Sholmes. So another 3 and an S. What's that?
Take that!
No, it's refusing to open. Tell me, what number did you use? Well, to begin with, I thought I'd try my birthday. Your birthday? How interesting, since as of today, with that absurd guesswork, you're dead to me. As measured as heaven response, Sholmes. Alright, so I did it wrong. So it's Sholmes backwards. If you'd only look in the right place, Mikotoba, the answer would be staring you in the face. The right place? But if you're having a spot of bother, I always find standing on my head aids the cognitive process. Yeah, Sholmes backwards. So 5, 3, 3. Fudge. Okay, S for H O L M M S. Okay, Sholmes.
Take that!
No, it's refusing to open. Tell me, what number did you use? Well, to begin with it. Okay, balls. Okay, balls. Look at this again. Is that it? The E is a 6? There's no 6, so the E is what, a 2? Yeah, 54013 is what I thought. Or S3310. Okay. S331045. Okay, so it's the E. There's no 6 though, so I don't go with the 2, I guess.
Take that!
There it is. It's a 2, not a 3. Okay. Click. Not Jigoku, it's someone else. That did it. It's open. You had the medal, didn't you? Wow, he can fit in there? Well, Eugen, you found me now. Cicero. Holy crap, he really stuffed himself in there. That's a big boy. I was really hoping beyond hope not to find you here, you know. But you're not entirely as unsurprised, I take it. No, quite. I just wish it were some other way. Well, are you ever going to introduce me? Ah, your reputation precedes you, Mr. Sholmes. I've read stories of many of your exploits. Excuse my manners, Sholmes. This is Jigoku, my old friend and traveling companion. The devil is in the details, Mikotoba. I believe you meant to say your old friend and traveling companion. I see. Who made the cowardly decision to flee the country without a word to anyone when things turned sour? I see my reputation precedes me as well. What an honor. Well, Cicero, are you going to explain all this? You know it all by now, I imagine. What you didn't know, of course, is that 3 days ago, on the night before our arrival in Britain, an attempt was made on my life here on this very ship. By the Reaper of the Bailey? Yes, I've since heard. The same voice, but deeper in one, lighter in the other. Because you were once prosecuted by the Reaper, weren't you? 10 years ago now, mind you? And I had no idea at the time what a dangerous individual he was. Anyway, when we arrived in London to find the symposium was postponed until goodness knows when, it became all too apparent to me that I might very well be targeted again. So you decided to flee the capital without saying a word to me about it? I'm afraid so, yes. Of course, I realize now that I really ought to have confided in you. It's somewhat surprising, I must say. What is? Well, first-class cabins aboard luxury steamships are in very short supply. It's more than a little hard to believe that this one just happened to be available. So says the protagonist of some colorful short stories. Well, I don't care for your opinion. The cabin did just happen to be available, so I purchased a ticket, and here I am. I've just seen for myself the obvious remnants of that incident in this cabin. So you'd already purchased your return ticket before you even docked in Dover, had you? To prevent anyone else from taking this cabin and seeing the evidence, is that it? Eugen, I have nothing to say to you. Pleading the fifth? Well, in a mere 5 minutes, the ship will be set off on its onward voyage and not make port again until Italy. I'm afraid you must insist that you disembark with us at once. You have no jurisdiction over my movements. We have this, Seshiro. Take it. What is it? It's a subpoena from the Old Bailey. You're a man of the law. You know what the ramifications of ignoring a document like this from the British courts would be. You came prepared then, Eugen. Come on, let's go. One moment. What is it, Sholmes? Inside Mr. Jigoku's trunk. I found this rather fascinating trinket. What is that, Seshiro? I can't help you, I'm afraid. It's a small component from something. But what, I have no idea. By the look on his face, I think he genuinely doesn't know. Let us pocket it as a small souvenir for our brief sojourn in France. Small component has been added to the court record. Well, young Naruhodo, I think we've done as much as we can, I'm afraid. The rest will be on the shoulders of you and your assistant. My daughter. Why did I not say it like that? What the hell? Yeah, we'll stop in a moment. 3rd of November, 12:10 p.m., the Old Bailey courtroom. So, pausing in a moment. Alright, what the balls happened? Save. Alright, that's it for now. I have fun. Hope you have fun watching. That's what's up, Asant. Having fun. Thanks, combined. See you next time.